Hello, everyone. Welcome back for Financially Fit. Here with Alan Dembski and Taunya Abaya, both advisors at Buffalo First Wealth Management in sunny Buffalo, New York today. I guess at least this actually the sun went out. It was out earlier, so but we certainly have an exciting topic for you today. Tanya and I have been discussing a lot. We've been reviewing company pension plans or state pension plans, I guess it would be a better word for that. So the state pension plan, one of the things that we noticed is how many people that have defined benefit or pension don't contribute extra to deferred comps like a 403B or 457. However, we recently came across a couple interesting people that did start contributing to those deferred comps and set aside a lot of money in those deferred comp plans, which is actually allowing them to retire at a pretty young age. So I'm going to turn it over to Tanya to give us a little background, and then we'll show you some numbers that will hopefully intrigue you about investing.
Hi, everybody. So yeah, I came to Alan because I wanted to talk. I just had this great experience with a financial planning client. And I thought, this is something that everybody should hear. So what happened is a husband and wife came to me and they were concerned. They are each working, but the wife wants to is going back to school, in which she has to take out student loans. However, when it's all said and done, she will double her income with the profession that she's in once she's finished with the schooling. They also have two kids. They just bought a house, and they were concerned that they were overextending themselves and just really wanted to get a good idea as to how to move forward and what were their best options. So interestingly enough, when I first met with them, what I got a lot of was, again, concern. But what I found was that they're actually doing really well. And one of the reasons they're doing well is the husband does work for New York State. He will get a New York State pension. But interestingly enough, he also handed me a 457. Now, he is not yet fit 40. And that 457 had over $400,000 in it. And I was hugely impressed because a lot of times you don't find that, especially if somebody has a pension, they think that that's good and that's all they need to kind of deal with. And pensions these days are not always what what people think they are cracked up to be. So I looked at him and I was just like, how? I asked, what made you decide to do this? And, how did you even know about this? And so what he said was before he even started his very first day, a family friend of his sat him down and simply said, listen, this is the first time that you are making a full-time job, good sum of money. And he said, so why don't you put 15% away? You don't know. I mean, you're going to start making this amount and you've never made it before. So what if it's 15% less into retirement? You're not going to miss it. And so for the last 17 years, this man has been putting 15% away and he has not missed it. And it has that small amount that he never even really noticed was gone, between the amounts that he put in, the percentages of how his income increased, so that 15% became a little bit more, and then the compounding interest over that period of time has put him in his whole family in a really, really good situation. So I definitely am sending this out to any parent who has kids who are coming out of college or going straight from school to a full-time job. Anybody who's heading towards a full-time job, talk to them and really discuss the fact that, there is a certain amount of money you could put away. And if you never notice it and you don't have it to begin with, you can make yourself quite a bit of money. You can really build your wealth. So this is a 457 IRA, but and this could be one simple step. However, financial planners like Alan and myself are constantly looking at possibilities and how to create even more wealth. And so Alan is going to take the step from here and talk about some of the different ways of doing that. Because what he put it in, and I should say that with a 457, was a tax deferred account. So when he gets to a certain age, he will need to pay income tax on all of the amount that he's taking out of the 457.
So a pre-taxed
It's
tax deferred account,
right.
deferred comp 457. So
Yes.
kind of to kick that off too is working with state employees. I think Taunya can attest to this too, is sometimes they don't understand the impact that their pension will have on Social Security and other benefits.
Yes.
And also, one of the things that we have learned after researching a lot of the pension plans or coming across people with New York State pension is depending on the age that you retire is the amount of benefit that you'll receive. So just because you have your 20 or 30 years in doesn't mean you're going to get your full pension. It's based on the age that you start taking it. So tier 2 to I think they're at tier 6 now. So all those tiers have different benefit periods on that. So just taking a look at that along with your pension. Now the pension is federally taxed. However, it's state tax free if you're still in New York, or if you move to a state with no income tax. Well, as we know, New York is not one of those states, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm going to share my screen. We did an interesting chart here, and it was kind of based on this particular client and putting away 15%. Now, when I did 3,000, I kept it static. So that means that the remainder years, it always stayed at a $3,000 a year contribution. And I started it when he was 22. So if you even take a person just coming out of college, if they're making $20,000 a year, that's $3,000 a year is 15% going into an IRA or even a Roth. But we've done videos on Roths and we've done videos on IRAs. So we really wanted to show you the difference. So either way, the account's going to grow to the same amount of money. We assumed 8% rate of return on this. And as you can see, the Roth and IRA, I mean, it's a little different, the presentation here. But this is count doing $3,000 a year from age 22 to 65. Sorry, I don't want to make you dizzy there, scrolling down. But by the time you reach 65, you'll have almost $1.1 million saved in this account. Now, again, assuming no withdrawals during that time period and constantly doing your $3,000 a year. However, the difference between the Roth and the traditional, this is where tax diversification in the future also comes into play. By doing the Roth, yes, you don't get the immediate tax break. However, at distribution, you would save over $110,000 in taxes within the Roth. Now you get the tax break up front for traditional, and then the Roth is after tax. So, you got to play the game of pre-tax, after tax, but people look at only their tax situation now currently. Doing both takes a look at your set tax situation currently, but also into the future at retirement. Now, it would be nice to have almost 1.1 million in tax-free income in retirement, wouldn't it? Yeah. However, that's the biggest thing that we have to, as planners, manage that required minimum distribution now at age 72, and how much tax impact that's going to have on your individual tax rate, plus how much is your Social Security then going to be taxed? Is it 50 or does it jump to 80% or 85%? So looking at those two numbers, this is just to kind of give an example of what we were talking about. Now, maybe he made more than 20,000 and 3,000 was less of a percentage. I don't know his income. I'm just assuming as a 22-year-old kid, maybe you make $20,000 as you're going to school, but putting away $3,000 a year. This is what potentially can happen if you're doing that little amount. Now, if you averaged it out, we started out smaller, there's a lot of variables, but this just gives you an idea of what that account would be like for those contributions.
Yeah, so our take on that either way is start investing. If you haven't done it yet, you're never too late, and start now. Right, Alan?
Absolutely. Now, with this gentleman having, let's just say you have your pension,
Yep.
um, you're not going to collect Social Security yet, obviously, but you have your pension, so that's federally taxable. You have your IRA, which if I do a distribution is federally taxable.
Yep.
Why not start saving in a Roth in our later years to have some tax-free income to help supplement any shortfalls that we do have to help lower our current taxes, but maintain our lifestyle.
And that's exactly what he's going to start doing. But
Oh,
again,
read
he
his
wouldn't,
mind, huh?
he wouldn't have had any idea,
Right.
again, he's doing the right thing. Oh my goodness, we wish everybody was doing exactly what he did. But that's where it is with financial planners. We have a little bit more knowledge of, what is actually out there. And just, and let's put it this way, he didn't do anything wrong either, because the Roths have been around for quite a while, but a lot of the states, or a lot of the companies that are now using Roths in retirement didn't for a long period of time, right?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I'm sure most financial people would say, I don't care what you invest in,
Mhm.
or
Right.
whether it's Roth or traditional, just invest.
Put it away. Absolutely.
It's going to get you to hopefully your goals that you're trying to achieve. And and I just had this conversation with a couple the other day. Is who would have thought spending money would be so hard in retirement?
Now that's a nice problem to have, isn't it?
Absolutely. So not only do we work so hard to accumulate and come up with a plan to accumulate, but now we got to come up with a plan to spend down in the most tax and sensible way that we can possibly get to our goal.
Not a bad problem, that's for sure.
So with that, Tanya, want to say anything before we depart here for today?
No, I hope you all learned something from this, and to come see us. We'd be happy to tell you more.
Absolutely. And I'll leave it off with this is no matter what your age and whatever you can afford, um, afford something. The old saying goes, pay yourself first, afford something, whether it's 10, 20, $30 a month, whatever you can afford. Once you get used to it, you won't miss it. And in this guy's case, he's never missed the amount of money because he never knew he had it.
Right.
So certainly start saving early, start saving young, and we can do these projections for you too, based on how much your account value is, how much you want to put away, anticipated rate of return. If you got the long term, we're probably looking at 8 or 9%. If you're in the short term, maybe 5 or 6, depending. But certainly we could do all these projections for you. Just give us a call and let us know how we can help. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. And if you have any further topics or discussions that you want to bring to our attention, certainly send us a message to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever it might be. But for us, we will sign off and thank you very much. And we'll see you next week.
Take care.